Now to other stories, and Ghana's human rights record is up for scrutiny yet again as the nation has been cited for multiple human rights violations, including torture, extrajudicial killings, and arrest of pressmen. This has been captured in a U.S. State Department report focused on violations recorded in the year 2022. So let's share with you details of this particular report. Now, it says in February, police chased a suspected traffic offender into a palace in Yendi and opened fire, killing another man and injuring eight others with stray bullets. Now, on April 24th, police in Nkranza arrested one Albert Donko, alleging his involvement in some armed robberies. He died while in police custody hours later. Police later fired live ammunition into a crowd of protesters seeking justice and killed a protester. Now, as of November, police had not concluded internal investigations into all of the above deaths. That's according to that report by the U.S. states. Now, it says that on February 11, police arrested Oliver Barker Vomawo, an activist critical of the government, in response to a series of Facebook posts. After initially charging him with misdemeanor charges of making false statements, police upgraded the charges to felony treason and held him in prison for 35 days before a judge released him on bail. Now, the statement continues to say that in February, some police in plain clothes attacked a Connect FM producer after he photographed the officers in a restaurant with their guns displayed and holding men in handcuffs. Now, in the same month, police arrested the executive director of the Alliance for Social Equity and Public Accountability and a morning show host for accusing the First Lady of misappropriating public funds. The two were charged with publication of false news. The cases remain pending. Now, the law provides for criminal penalties for those who post false or misleading information online, with penalties of up to 5 years in prison and substantial fines. In August, the Kumasi Traditional Council ordered Oyerpa FM to stop broadcasting after it broadcast a program which the council considered disrespectful of their office. Now, a businessman had accused the traditional authorities of condoning destructive illegal mining in the region. The station resumed broadcasting 4 days later after issuing apologies to the council. Now, the statement touches on the LGBTQI+ community, and it says reported police violence against the persons who are involved in these ones. Now, civil society groups and activists reported police were resistant to investigative claims of assault or violence against LGBTQI+ persons. Now, stigma, intimidation, and the perceived negative attitude of some police toward LGBTQI+ persons were factors in preventing survivors from reporting incidents of abuse. The statement continues to say that these persons in prison were vulnerable to harassment as well as sexual, mental, and physical abuse, which authorities generally did not investigate. So those are these are some of the content of that report released by the U.S. State Department. Now, Professor P.J. Etua is a law professor with the University of Ghana and a human rights advocate. He joins us with more. Prof, grateful that you join us. Now, surprised by what you are seeing, you're hearing from this report. Clearly, these are serious issues of concern.
Thank you for having me. I'm not really surprised. I think we have been talking about some of these issues all along, and it was also envisaged that if such a report comes, we'll hear such unacceptable reports about Ghana's human rights record. And you can expect that next year it may even be worse, based on what the country's practices so far this year. And so it is a worrying trend. That is what we should be concerned about. And so as things stand, what human rights defenders and human rights organizations and NGOs, what has been confirmed in this report.
Okay. Now, what can be done to change the trend? The obvious challenge is that the violations are happening at different levels of governance.
Yes, I think, first of all, we need to look at our democratic structure, or the form of governance we have, and the accountability mechanisms we have in place. We have a form of democracy that is a sort of hybrid form of governance, whereby we have what Professor H.K. Prempeh refers to as imperial president. A president that is vested with so much power. And he exercises his power in a very vertical direction where resources are distributed based on who is kowtowing to the president. And the president has that huge power with little or ineffective accountability mechanisms in place, where he has been able to capture and to bring under his control the key accountability institutions and human rights bodies that are supposed to ensure that there is respect for human rights, there is accountability for rights violations, and so on. So we need to address some of these impunities that are in the system, in the law and it's in practice, so that when we're able to say that our president has too much power, that power needs to be diffused and decentralized. Accountability mechanisms need to be put in place and made to work. For example, we talk about institutions such as, even within the arms of government, Parliament is not exercising its oversight responsibility. Even with the opposition, the numbers that we have in Parliament, they are not doing a good job. The executive, we talk about the police, which is part of the executive arm, they are not doing the work that they're supposed to do. And so, if these mechanisms are not working, the burden falls on civil society organizations, and they are doing as much as they can do. We have talked about all the violations that have taken place, Ashama and the more recent times and so on. But without that support from the Constitution, we are not able to do a good job. STRAS, for example, needs to be given the power. It needs to present yearly reports to Parliament. They are not doing that. Parliament is not putting pressure on STRAS to do that. So these are the weaknesses in the system that are causing human rights violations to fester and to become rampant to the extent that it's being normalized in the society.
Interesting. Grateful to you, Prof, for joining us here on the Joy News Prime now.